All right, fellas, let's go ahead and take down this new edition, the special edition of Dokkan Battlefield, aka the virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash. I believe over here on Global, it's the 47th edition, I think. There's been so many of these, it is kind of tough to keep track. Remember, we get one of these every month, so this is like 4 years worth of, Dokkan Ultimate Clashes, right? So coming up on Global, I feel like we're kind of sort of close to the end of this round of enemies. We should be getting a new one relatively soon. I actually don't know which month, but I think it should be relatively soon. We'll be getting the new batch of enemies, right? So we'll be moving on from Omega Shenron and then moving on to Broly, right? So Omega Shenron, he can still fuck you up, but I'm telling you, man, after the 7th year LRs came out, dude, and just like that power creep, Omega cannot keep up. I'm fairly certain the last round of Battlefield, you were able to use, it was either the LR Gods or it was the LR Super Saiyan 4s, and you were able to absolutely just, blow his back out for sure. Like, I'm pretty sure I one-turned him the last round of Battlefield. I think it took me 3 minutes, and that was including, like, entrance animations or something like that. So Omega Shenron certainly can still be a threat, in the wrong situation. If, he can easily lock you in slot 1, super attack you, lower your defense, and you're fucked, right? So the Battlefield boss that's even tougher than him is, of course, Broly. Broly is going to be a very, very tough fight, but again, this power creep, dude, after, shortly after we get Broly, we'll be getting, Vegeta and Trunks, and, like, obviously we've got this Goku, we've got Cooler. By the way, speaking of Cooler, ordinarily, so when you're doing Battlefield, ordinarily, by the way, when I say Battlefield, it's synonymous with the virtual Ultimate Clash. Battlefield is just easier to say, even though Battlefield never really came to Global. The official Dokkan Battlefield, right? But anyway, speaking of Cooler, when you're running this mode, oftentimes, and when I say oftentimes, I mean like the vast majority of the time, you're just running your best monotype teams. Usually you want to save your best monotype teams for the, stage 3, and in this particular case, stage 4, right? You want to save your best monotype teams. So what I wanted to do here is I really wanted to showcase Cooler in Dokkan Battlefield, and obviously Goku, right? So I decided to save them for the very end. So I saved Extreme STR, so we'll be able to get to see Cooler against tougher bosses. I didn't want to run the risk of not being able to see Cooler, not to mention we'll get his amazing entrance animation later on in the fight, right? So very, very cool, but that is kind of the one thing. So if you guys are new to the game and you've just stumbled upon this channel, number one, welcome. But number two, when you're running Dokkan Battlefield, that's basically it. You just want to run your best monotype team that you can run, pretty much, right? So in the lower levels, you want to run like your extreme class monotype teams, and then toward the end, you want to run your super class monotype teams, generally speaking, right? Again, STR is probably an exception. I mean, realistically, there are powerful units for every single typing. You could realistically make a justification for, at this point, for any, running any monotype team. Even like Extreme Tech, like over on JP, they have, Goku Black and Zamasu, right? You've got a unit like Sin Shenron, for instance. You've got this unit here, the LR, the Tech androids, right? Even this Frieza is pretty powerful in the right situation, so you could realistically make a justification for running any monotype team on any stage of the opposite type, for sure. So this particular Battlefield, it really wasn't that bad until you get to Trunks. That Trunks that transforms into Super Saiyan Trunks, man, he can hit you very, very hard. My honest recommendation is you probably do want to run Super STR, because you've got a lot of units over there that can either dodge or dodge and counter, right? But those super attacks, man, they're freaking hitting hard, dude. So be careful against that Trunks. He was really the toughest opponent, I would say, even tougher than the very final boss, the STR Cooler, right? So oftentimes the multiple phase fights can give players a bit of trouble. And actually in this current round of enemies, like the not special edition version of Dokkan Battlefield, that Trunks can hit very, very hard. The movie Heroes Trunks can hit very, very hard. He's given some players a little bit of trouble. So moving on to this Namek Goku, who will be getting his EZA this celebration, man. This is very, very good. Namek Goku is on so many teams. He's going to be one of these units you can practically just throw on to any team, and he's going to be good, right? So I'm, excuse me, I'm going to guess, I think people are underestimating this Namek Goku a little bit. I think people see this medium chance to guard and act like he's going to be trash. Remember that EZAs for TURs get big-time stat buffs, right? So he's going to be rocking, you know, 13, 14,000 defense. He's going to be rocking 20,000 attack-ish. Like, he's going to be looking pretty nasty, right? I really do believe that. So he's going to build up in his base form upon getting hit. He's going to raise allies' attack and defense by 30% for one turn. Like, he's going to be a... one complaint, I guess, is, like, you want to run him in slot 1. Is he going to be built for slot 1 in, like, the red zone? I don't know. I really don't know. There's really going to be no way to tell until you can actually use him in-game. But, for instance, if you're running him in, like, let's just say, like, the Frieza or the Cooler, he's going to be, you know, the Cooler red zone, that is. You're not going to want to run him in slot 1 for sure. He's not going to, you know, against an AGL enemy. Unless, you know, by virtue of his stats and his kit, he's rocking 400k defense or something. I mean, maybe, right? You could maybe get away with it, because after he super attacks, he'd be fine. But, you know, getting him built up is going to be important in that base form, because there's no guarantees with his design, because there are no guarantees you're getting his transformation. I mean, I would say in today's day and age, so just to kind of clarify, his transformation conditions are HP 70% or less starting from the 3rd turn from the start of battle, right? So if he starts in slot 7, you could just auto-transform into him, right? So that is just something to keep in mind. But again, there's no guarantees, right? And in the world of Red Zone, you never really know what you're going to get. I mean, oftentimes you're going to be below 70% HP. But again, a lot of times in Red Zone, you're going from 100% HP to 0% HP, right? That's just kind of the nature of Red Zone these days. So he seemed, it's like you look at his kit, he seems a little bit mid, but I don't want to just jump to conclusions, right? Because when he transforms, he will be stacking defense. He will have a medium chance to guard, and when he guards, he's got it for 4 turns, and he's going to be getting a 50% chance to crit when he guards, right? So he's still going to be looking pretty good. I will say I wish he stacked attack too. This is one thing you're going to find out. I think that there's a lot of emphasis these days on defense, and I would definitely agree. You definitely want units to be good defensively, but when you're going into these red zone stages, or Cell Max, for instance, Cell Max has 60 million HP in that final form, right? Or that final phase of Cell Max. By the way, this is one of the few stages where you can, or one of the few typings where you can rock a double leader skill, right? Like a category leader skill, right? Having that LR God Goku, right? Having a pure and hybrid Saiyans leader. Really, really good leader skill for that God Goku. I cannot wait for that guy's EZA, by the way. So, but anyway, getting back to my previous point, I think there's certainly something to be said about units, you know, being able to hold down slot 1, defending very, very well. Those units have tremendous value in this game. But you have to be able to do damage to these opponents. You have to. So hopefully this Goku, again, just by virtue of his stats alone, this new Namek Goku, hopefully he is able to do enough damage, right? Because if you've got this unit who stacks defense, that's great. Like, you love units that stack. I'm just not entirely convinced this guy is going to be red zone caliber. I'm not, and again, I don't want to jump to conclusions, because we see units with 300k defense, for instance, like LR Janemba, right? I've got a 90% LR Janemba. He's frequently rocking over 300k defense with guard. He still takes damage, right? Like, he still takes damage in the wrong situation, again, against Cell Max. he takes damage, right? Because again, Cell Max is one of these undefined super attacks, so LR Janemba unfortunately cannot nullify it because it's not a Ki Blast super. So that is very, very annoying. But so a unit like Cell, or an opponent like Cell Max, Red Zone Broly, even Red Zone Cooler, like how is Namek Goku going to hold up? And for that matter, you know, kind of moving on from Namek Goku, I guess a bit, how is Full Power Frieza going to be holding up, right? Full Power Frieza, I knew it was coming. Full Power Frieza, I think, is going to be very good. I think he's going to be rocking, you know, 400, 500k defense, and he's going to be rocking, you know, over 10 million attack stats. On the surface, sounds very, very good, but dude, Red Zone is no joke. 500k defense gets you killed in the Cell Max fight. It gets you killed in a lot of Red Zone stages. You're going to tank fine on normals, but when you get super attacked, it's just not enough. So, but luckily, Full Power Frieza, STR Full Power Frieza, I think he's going to be doing enough damage to where he can kind of, you know, get away with it more or less, right? So, was able to get the Insta transformation for that Fizz Golden Frieza, right? I absolutely still love that unit, and I will probably always rock him on my Battlefield team. I love his transformation conditions whenever you want, right, is basically when he can transform. In Battlefield, you definitely want to be transforming with him right away. I feel like there's really no real advantage, right, to holding on to that transformation, because Battlefield fights, unless it's a multiple phase Battlefield fight, I just feel like there's really no advantage to holding on to it, right? He does stack defense in his base form, but just get him to final form. Get him to golden form. I guess that's not his final form anymore, right? Black Frieza. So, but anyway, guys, this is the Trunks, right? So, real quick, we're going to pick our team, and then we're going to go ahead and watch STR LR Cooler's amazing entrance animation. And you guys are going to see, dude, this is what I was kind of getting to with my point. Is like, yeah, dude, it's really good to have units that hold down slot 1, but you got to be able to do damage to some of these tough enemies. So, I had to kind of double check the leader skills here. I wanted to see if we could sneak in a double category here, but I think I decided to just run like mono STR, whatever the best mono STR team I could run. So let's go ahead and see what I decided to do here. So yeah, decided to run was that Broly, and then I think Full Power Frieza. So let's go ahead and watch this amazing, amazing entrance animation. God damn, you gotta love that, dude. I would definitely say upon... So I did, if you guys missed my summons, I did manage to pull 2 copies of Cooler, and I currently have 1 copy of Goku. I think I will do 1 more summon video. I might as well. Probably just gonna clear out those sales, and maybe I'll save it for a nice top grossing video or something like that, because I think inevitably we will be getting top grossing. I don't know when, but at the very least we're gonna be matching JP's top grossing, but... I'm going to be frequently talking about this Cooler an awful lot, because I think there is tremendous value. This guy being able to do 5 attacks, he's like... Okay, so this guy reminds me of AGL Trunks, or like... So AGL Trunks or like Super Saiyan 3 Goku on like a massive dose of steroids, right? He is absolutely just batshit insane. I mean, it doesn't get much crazier than what STR LR Cooler can do, right? The amount of damage he does, dude, when you're running him on a full 200% leader skill and this and that, just to kind of gargle his balls a little bit. I had a run with him. It was against it was against Frieza. I decided to run Red Zone Frieza just for fun. Now, I'd already used both of my items, right? So it was Cooler, and I was linked up with Frieza, full power, AGL full power Frieza, and I had Turles on rotation, right? So this guy does a 12 million attack stat. This is his active skill turn, right? So the enemy full power Frieza's at full health. We do the active skill, we attack with Cooler, and we attack with Frieza, and full power Frieza was dead, right? So he did a 12 million attack stat, followed by like two 7.7 million attack stats. And then Full Power Frieza did his one little, 8 million attack stat, and he was dead. It's just, there is something to be said for having really, really good offense, right? Having very impressive offense in this game, oftentimes it can be a strategy. It's kind of the same strategy as like nuking back in the day, right? These units that nuked. Ooh, let's go ahead and watch this one real quick too. I want to watch this active skill.
新生児の実を食べ続けてきた俺に勝てると思ったか？俺の勝ちだな。
I absolutely adore that Turles active skill, and by the way, that's probably in my top 5 favorite OSTs of all time. I'll probably use that OST in this video. Oftentimes for OSTs, I'm frequently just picking my favorite ones, right? Like, yeah, I'll pick the one for the relevant unit and this and that. Y'all are going to see, dude, watch how hard this Trunks hits, dude. This is, I believe, this is before cooler super attacks, right? Yeah, 130. And look how close we get to dying. I was a little concerned we were going to die there, but 5.6 million in Battlefield, I'm going to go ahead and just say that's kind of impressive, right? And we absolutely just fucking clap this Trunks' cheeks, right? But that got very close there. I mentioned earlier in the video how tough that Trunks was, man. He was not messing around, right? I think we took a super attack for like 200k against Cooler, but after getting him built up a little bit, right, that Cooler can just do crazy, crazy, crazy damage. So in the land of Red Zone, right, in the land of Cell Max, having a good offense is a very good strategy, especially if you can strategize, your item usage, right? If you can double Whis or something like that, again, it's a viable strategy. So yes, defense, 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 but this just relates back to kind of the Namek Goku point. Is he only going to be putting up a 5 million attack stat? I say only a 5 million attack stat because that's just the life we live, dude. That's the world we live in Dokkan these days, dude. Power creep is absolutely insane. 5 million attack stat, if you're doing 100 other things, is good. But if that's all you got, that's not good enough. It really is not. And I know that this was different even just 3-4 months ago. It was different, right? Like, it really was. So it's just not enough these days. Like the Goku, so for instance, this Goku you guys are going to see, he's not going to put up the craziest attack stats. I mean, he does and he doesn't, right? So he doesn't put up crazy attack stats, but then again, he's super effective against all types. So that does inherently make him a bit more impressive. And he guards, right? So that was not even a 3 million attack stat. Super effective against all types, and we're in Battlefield, obviously, right? So that all of the attack stats you see and defensive stats are a bit watered down. So that came from the +5 additional skill orb that I was able to give him. I feel like the way that his kit is designed, I feel like you could realistically justify giving him whatever you wanted, right, in terms of hidden potential systems. So you look at what he does. So he stacks defense on his 18 key and then greatly raises attack for 1 turn on his 12 key. It's kind of, you wish that they would have designed it the other way around, just like Namek Goku. However, this guy's guarding, and this guy's doing a lot. He gets a massive defensive buff upon getting hit. He has a lot of defense. I feel like it would have been a little unfair if he stacked defense on his 12 key. It would have been so easy to just give him additionals. I think the one thing you wouldn't want to do, I know, shout out to the homie, the Truth DT, but the one thing you would not want to do is give him any more than probably the 3 dodge, right? In my opinion. Now, time will tell. It's not usually the worst idea to give your units a little bit of extra dodge, just, again, because the life we live in Dokkan here, right? Needing units with high defense and the chance to dodge is not a bad thing. You guys see against Cell Max, for instance. Cell Max, dude, you gotta have 1 unit or more that dodges, right? There aren't enough units in the game that can tank him. There's just not. He's doing, is it 1.8 million on super attack, right? Like, there aren't units in the game that can tank him, right? This Goku's probably one of them, right? If you've got him with multiple dupes and he gets his defensive buff upon getting hit. So That is the one thing I would say is, generally speaking, it's not a horrible idea to give units a little extra dodge. But with this guy, you want him to activate his passive. You want him to activate his guard. Because if he doesn't get hit, he's not activating guard. He's not super effective against all types. You really want him to get hit at least once. So you could completely get fucked. For instance, if you gave him full dodge and he's just dodging every attack in slot 1 before he attacks, dude, you're fucked. I mean, honestly, like you kind of are. Because you really want him to get hit at least one time. Same thing with like Namek Goku. You want him to get built up in base form, right? So interesting stuff here. Even for that matter, even the Int Namek Goku, right? You want to put him in slot 1 ideally. So you don't, and you want him to get hit so he can potentially triple super. So anyway, guys, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you would give that Tech Goku in terms of hidden potential. I think I'd probably give him a good mix, right? I'd probably give him a little additional, a little crit. I'd probably just go crit, right? Well, I guess additional, right, would be the way to go if he's super effective against all types. I suppose that's kind of the meta, right? I guess you'd probably want to give him additional. But again, in terms of super attack effect, it's not really... I feel like you're splitting hairs at a certain point, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. We are on to Thouser, right? We are officially on stage 4, right? So the last battle you guys will see is against STR Cooler. Speaking of STR Cooler, right? STR Cooler, man, I think there is an incredibly high chance. I don't know the percentage. If I had to if you like made me put a percentage on it, I would say there's like an 80% chance of STR Cooler getting his EZA this celebration. So STR Cooler, man, he is a unit. There is no way that they can make him bad. Unless they don't give him defense on super or something dumb like that. I just don't think there's really any way you can make him bad. He does infinitely stack attack when he transforms, but all he's doing in his base form is lowering attack and defense, which certainly is useful in Super Battle Road, but that's about it. And then like the first phase of Broly and Omega, right? He can lower their attack. Other than that, man, STR Cooler, man, has obviously fallen off. So he's a unit that came out in 2019, and believe it or not, there are some other units in 2019 that have gotten their EZAs or will be getting their EZA shortly. I just think there's a very high chance. I might even put it a little higher than 80%. I think in another video I said 95%. I think it's almost assuredly. I think it's almost assured that he's getting his EZA, right? They more or less mentioned it in the Dokkan now. They harken back to his super attack animations and how great they were and how revolutionary they were for the time, which I completely agree. They definitely were. So the TUR Cooler, right? There are a couple of things that made him kind of a bit revolutionary, right, when he came out and why he was so dominant for so long. He was the best TUR in the game by like a mile for a long time. He really, really was. So a couple of things that made him just head and shoulders above the rest. So number one, in his base form. He's a support unit to the category that he leads, right? So he is a support unit to transformation boost. 30% attack and defense and 2 ki when you're facing one enemy. And then when you're facing multiple enemies, he's a support unit to Terrifying Conquerors, I believe. 50% attack and defense and 2 ki, right? So, dude, he's a monster support unit in his base form. He's got really, really good transformation conditions. So his transformation condition is simple. You're up against a pure hybrid Saiyan, he can insta-transform. So turn 1 and beyond, right? You can transform whenever, or starting from the 6th turn when you're not up against a pure hybrid Saiyan. So, but also, so I was talking about things that made him revolutionary, right? So his number one is animations, out of this world, dude. That 360 pan of Cooler, the camera pan that is just like, it's just like jaw dropping, right? When he transforms. You know, the voice acting, like everything about that unit, dude, aesthetically, just unbelievable, right? Just incredible. His support type, I mean, this was kind of like the new meta of Dokkan at the time, where your leader was a support unit for the team that they led, right? So this, and another thing that made him revolutionary is that you could choose to transform with him or not. You could choose to keep him as a support unit, or you could choose to transform with him. And none of his links changed when he transformed, so you could link him up with himself. You could transform with one cooler, and then you could, leave one cooler in base form. And then you've got just this fucking wrecking machine that's doing guaranteed crits against pure and hybrid Saiyans, right? Dude, STR Cooler, in some events, he can probably still be pretty useful. It's just that defense, right? He's only rocking about 200,000 defense post-transformation, right? It's just not good enough. That is nowhere near good enough. That's like bad free-to-play unit stats, right? 200k defense or something. So we are finally on the final phase of Cooler here. Overall, this fight was really not too bad, but probably part of that was being able to use Super AGL, right? Super AGL is still a very, very powerful typing, especially after the EZA of AGL LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, for sure. You've got a unit like AGL UI Goku, who, as much shit as I talk about him, he still can perform very well in Battlefield. This 70% chance to dodge, he's critting. He actually falls under both leader skills of AGL LR Gohan and Super Saiyan 4 Goku, right? So he's getting a full category buff right here, full 170 and 180 respectively, right, to his attack. So that is very, very good. So he can still output some good damage. If you make it that way, where you're just running a full Kamehameha and Goku's family team, dude, there's not an enemy in Battlefield that can take you down for sure. There's just not one. So I do quite still like using Super AGL. I mean, look at how we're just incinerating, Cooler's health, right? You've got Evolution Evolution Blue Vegeta, AGL Evolution Blue Vegeta, who can still do 100,000 attacks. You've got this Goku who's shelling out, ridiculous attack stats. 6 million in Battlefield's very, very strong. And he just absolutely just wipes the floor with Cooler, right? Cooler never stood a chance, for sure. I bet Cooler would have done a lot of damage on that super attack, but LR UI Goku dodged it. So to wrap up this video, we'll go ahead and pick up the rewards, and we'll go ahead and rip a multi, because why not? We'll have enough for a multi. And remember, your boy, I'm not how you say F2P, if you know what I mean. So we'll just go ahead and rip this one multi, and it'll be fun, right? So I believe if I rip one multi, again, this is all post-commentary, right? But so we'll go ahead and show off the rewards here. The rewards for Battlefield are absolutely crazy. So 33 stones, and then plus you get a stone for defeating each stage, right? So each enemy, you get 1 stone. So I believe total you're getting like 41, 42 stones, something like that. Like, it's a lot of stones from this special edition of Battlefield. So we'll go ahead and rip a multi here. And then again, we'll go ahead and get the free multi on the free multi step. This multi is absolutely trash. But the next multi is pretty good. So, but guys, kind of wrapping up this video, we'll go ahead and just wrap it up now. Hey, featured unit. Battlefield, man. Make sure you're completing Battlefield every single month. At least complete it. If you're a new player, or you're free to play, or this or that, make sure you are completing at least as much as you can, because the rewards are just incredible, right? Especially when you get to stage 3 and beyond, you're getting a lot of dragon stones, you're getting special stickers, you're getting a zillion orbs, right? So make sure you're completing it as much as you possibly can, even if you can't completely finish it, right? You're still getting good rewards. You're getting Kai, Elder Kais, Grand Kais, Sleepy Kais, like I said, orbs. You're getting trading items, you're getting awakening medals, you're getting everything, right? So for all of you who are complaining, for instance, about not having Gregory medals, for instance, like, make sure you're completing something like Dokkan Battlefield. But we'll go ahead and leave it on this LR pull. Slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you in the next one. Later.